We are at your lesson. Just to remind you what's up on the page on tablature or tab. It's 6 strings and 6 lines. Which please get a book of it or print some or whatever if you can. And the bottom line is the 6th string, which is that one, and the top line's the 1st string, which is that one. So it kind of looks upside down. The reason they did that is so that low notes are down on the bottom, low on the low note, not on the high note. So it kind of looks upside down. That's the confusing thing. But really, I think you're gonna remember these shapes from the song. It's totally just the same shape moving around. So that you're never sight reading from tab. It just says this stuff happened in this order. It doesn't tell you the rhythm. You want to be looking at your hands. And I don't, with this specific thing that we're playing, I don't even really think you'll need what's on the page because you're gonna have this video to follow along with. So yeah, the first, it's just the same chord grip over and over. Let's just get our bearings. The 5th fret is the 2nd dot here. The 3rd fret's the 1st dot right there. So 0, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, and those are landmarks, Yeah, so the biggest thing is when you were doing this at home, you were doing it like this, and yeah, so there's a dot at the 5th fret, the 3rd fret, and the 7th fret.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, so there's
you start at 1.
Yeah, totally. So 0, 1, 2. So there's dots at the 3rd, 5th, 7th fret. A dot and a dot on your instrument too.
There's no dot here.
Yeah, totally. Or is there one here at the 3rd fret on yours? Yeah. Okay, so yours just doesn't have one at the 3rd fret. Sometimes it does, but you do have one at the 5th fret.
Okay.
So anyway, that's where we're starting the song, right on the dot. So when you were doing this at home, you were using the wrong fingers. You were doing it like that, which totally makes sense from just a deductive reasoning standpoint. So the thing to remember is that your middle finger's in the bass, it's the lowest note, and then it's the other 2 fingers. So our 1st finger's the one we're not using. So just stop the video at home in your practice and just get that shape down. And what's happening in the song is that we're playing it here, and then we're moving it down. So, and that's the hard part, is how do I move that fast? So before you even start playing in your practice at home, just go back and forth between those 2 shapes. And the important part is that you're consciously focused on what you're doing, noticing what's happening, right there, that your pinky didn't quite move enough, and trying to consciously correct it the next time you do it, as opposed to kind of slipping into the guessing headspace, the hope I get it. That's using the part of your brain for, I'm going to take this test and then forget it forever. We're trying to do I'm going to remember this forever. So, at first you can totally take the emphasis off of trying to move fast and just try it. But anyway, exactly what you're doing right now. So no problem, and then if you want, you can just be hit it once, just make sure it's all the notes are ringing out and stuff. So just stop and get up to there. And then, right hand wise, what we're doing is we're hitting our thumb and then the other 2 fingers, we're going. So now just doing the opposite of what we just did, don't even worry about your left hand and get good at doing that, which is going to be easier than the right hand part. And you can totally take pauses wherever you need to. And yeah, in this specific riff, this song, we're using your thumb and your next 2 fingers. So there it is. So now just spend a little while doing this. Pretty quick, your hand's going to say, okay, no problem, especially because it seems like you've been doing that a little bit at home. And then put both things together. So now you're going to do both at once, but totally don't worry about rhythm. Just go through it like it's a grocery list. Just, if you can play in rhythm, it's cool, but if you want to try to play in rhythm, play really slowly, until that gets easy, and then bring it up to speed. That'll be a lot easier than trying to just go right at the beginning. So, stop right now. You've already spent time doing this. You've already spent time just doing the right hand with open strings. So now try to do both of them. Just put it together. So now what you're doing is practice tempo is so get good at doing that, and then we're going to bring it up to which will, if you start slow, it'll pretty much be doable. So yeah, first part was we learn the left hand change, which is the hard part. Then just get your right hand comfortable, and then do both together. So once you've gotten good at that, the next part's going to be easy, because it's just the same exact stuff. Right hand wise, it's literally the same thing, but left hand wise, we're moving to the 3rd fret, which is back 2 frets. You know, not the 5th fret or the 4th fret, but the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3. And that's where we originally learned it, I think. So you're probably used to doing it there. And it's exactly the same hand movement. Like, there's no curveballs coming at all here. It's exactly the same thing you were doing here. You just scoot back 2 frets. So that's going to be our whole song. And it'll actually sound like a song, you know. You're going to... So before you worry about doing the first 2 changes that we were just working on, just get used to doing it at the 3rd fret, which will, you know, it's the exact same thing you were doing here, so that really shouldn't seem difficult aside from, okay, I moved my hand to here. Just be sure that your thumb moves too on the back of the instrument. What I mean by it'll be easy is it's exactly the same thing. There's no new elements to it, whatever. It's just you were doing it here, now you're doing it there. It's still the same strings, still the same fingers, still the same frets. Cool, so then, you know, get used to doing it at the 3rd fret. It's going to be a lot like what you did at the 5th fret, pretty much identical. And then our whole song is going to go, you do it twice at the 5th fret, you do it twice at the 3rd fret. And that'll actually sound like a song. So before you try that, which is at about 6:30 on your video, just get all the different parts together separately. Don't look at the page, just look at your hands, and don't worry about rhythm. It's so much more fun to just start playing in rhythm at the beginning, but first just kind of show yourself the dance steps so you can dance. So now here's how the actual whole thing is going to sound. And again, the thing for you to remember is that your middle finger is the lowest note, and from there you'll get it.
Thank you.
No problem. So anyway, so here's how the whole thing's going to sound. 5th fret, we'll do it twice there. Section, the 3rd fret. And there's our whole song. And, you know, if you do it at this tempo, you'll have a decent amount of time to move. But either way, you've already worked on the left-hand part the first time you're trying to do this whole thing. So there's our first song. And then the other stuff you were doing, you know, with picking single notes, let's just focus on this song for this time around, just trying to get good at this, which will open up the ability to do a whole bunch of other stuff. So there it is. That's what we're working on. And, you know, just consciously focus. You know, it's like, I'm sure we talked about this at your first lesson ever. There's 2 stages to learning everything. There's the memorization part, and then there's the playing. When we're memorizing, we're consciously focused, and we're doing things like just totally disregarding rhythm. Let's equate this to like learning the dance steps, and then, like memorizing the dance steps, and then we go into and we're consciously focused on what we're doing. And then having done that, we switch to the playing headspace, which is like guessing. It's a feel thing. Like now you're dancing instead of learning the dance steps. So it's really tempting to like do both at once, but optimally we'd be working on one or the other at any time. But really it's just this, same thing at 2 different frets. So we've purposely designed a song that, aside from like, ouch, my hand hurts, and I don't play guitar yet, is totally doable and beginnery. So, you know, just don't move on prematurely. If you're working on the memorization part, I know it's way more fun to like stick it in rhythm, but you can totally pause, and, you know, just the key is you're thinking about what you're doing, and then when you switch to playing, you're not thinking about it anymore. It's like that, you know, now I'm dancing headspace where you're kind of thinking about what you're doing until you get so good at it you don't have to think about it anymore.